Hey folks, today we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to be organizing our bookcases. So this is something that I usually do every year around January. I don't think I did it last year, maybe even the year before. I added in a few books but didn't do like a refresh, reorganize. Hey look, it's my microphone. But yes, I didn't do a full like refresh, reorganize that I usually do every year. I just kind of added the books I had been reading that I had read the previous year to the bookcase. I like doing that because I usually collect all of the books I read throughout the year kind of in our bedroom, like in our nightstand, or we've got a little tiny bookcase in there that has my like TBR, and then I move it to a different shelf to be the like, these are the books I read every year. I think that for me has just been a nice way of like looking back on the books that I've read and being able to kind of track that. So I have a stack of the books that I read, and actually the camera is currently sitting on a couple of Dungeon Crawler Carl books. So I thought I'd do kind of like, let's talk about the books that I read last year. While I reorganize my bookshelf, we're going to pull everything off. We're going to give it a nice wipe down, and we're going to reorganize it because there are a number of books on here that I feel like we've got behind me all of our tabletop RPG books, which I like having them down here like as something that like people see in our living space. But it has meant that we have a few other like fiction, nonfiction books sprinkled around the house, and I'd like to have those kind of all in one place. And we now have bookshelves in our office/guest room that we didn't have when we first moved in and put it up this bookcase. And that's where most of the other gaming stuff is. I'm trying to decide if I should leave the board games up here or move those. I might also make one of these spots down here, like put a box basket thing that we can have some like additional toy storage, because we very much have a living room kid who plays with all of her toys in the living room, and it's nice to have places that we can kind of tuck them away when we have like evening adult time or just to tidy up. She's pretty good about tidying up because Ripley, who's currently outside, so she's not pacing back and forth, will chew on toys. So if you're looking for motivation for your kid to pick things up, I don't recommend it, but it has worked out having a dog who does like to chew on kid toys. After a couple of toys get chewed up because they forgot to get picked up, there's a lot more motivation to clean up. So, life hack, maybe, just have a dog that doesn't chew on things. We're working on that with Ripley. She's gotten so much better. Let's dive into the bookcase rearrangement. Oh, and hey, if you're new here, I'm Dawn. This is Tangled Together, where I usually talk about my knitting hobby, but I also talk about the other things in life that get tangled on up in it. And today it's books. Just to give you all a reference, this is the starting point. Let's start with Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dimon. A man and his cat get thrown into a deadly underground game show where after the world ends. And it's exactly as chaotic and hilarious as that sounds. If you're a fan of RPGs, video games, chronically being online, this is a really great series for you. It's humorous, but there's also like commentary on society, and Carl's Doomsday Scenario is the second book in the series, and it just cranks everything up even further, and I'm really looking forward to reading more of this series. A quiet, intensely personal YA novel about a girl with OCD really captures mental illness with this real honesty. There's also like a little bit of a like murder mystery in here. This is a really great book for anyone who's ever felt like your own brain is working against you. Kel Byron wrote this really cozy, melancholy little story with a lot of charm. This is really great for anybody who enjoyed Welcome to Night Vale. It's a warm, witchy romance about found family and belonging. It's the kind of book that just feels like a hug. It's cozy, sweet, and just a little bit magical. It's sharp, funny, and quietly furious in the best way. I highly recommend this for anyone who loves strong-voiced heroines and a good dose of wit. It's fast, fascinating, and surprisingly moving. Great for fans of John Green's Crash Course or anyone who likes learning things in small, delightful bites. This was probably my favorite book of the year. A lush, gothic vampire novel told in fragments across centuries. If you enjoy sapphic vampires, highly recommend. Exactly what it sounds like. It's a cozy fantasy with baking magic and good vibes. The Great British Bake Off meets magic. Perfect for fans of cozy fantasy or anyone in a reading slump. If you're a fan of Princess Bride, this has that kind of vibe to it. Well, it's entertaining, funny, there's action to it. This was a really good romantic fantasy comedy. Whee! So much stuff. It's amazing how much stuff fits on a bookcase. This is usually the point in the project where I have every surface in the house covered in little knickknacks that I've pulled off the shelves, and the books all piled on the floor in a big empty shelf where I just question, what have I done? What have I gotten myself into? But it only goes up from here. Welcome to my organization system, piles! So yes, let's start and move around the room. So this pile that's kind of partially off camera right here. Actually, I think so this pile is all of our RPG books. We have a lot of RPG books. That's what happens when you run a RPG focus channel for 10 years. Books. This is the shame pile. You know what you did. Then we move on to the horror sci-fi section. This used to be primarily sci-fi, and I've been adding more and more horror to it, so I think I'm going to kind of branch that out. And I do have some books from my TBR, which is over on the table. Not TBR, but my red books. I have some to add to this pile. So, yes, need to rearrange that. This big stack right here is all fantasy. I do want to go through because I think there might be some YA in there. It's always which section do I put this in for a number of books? Because I also have books by an author that are clearly fantasy, but I also have books by that same author that are fiction YA. There's no fantastical elements to it. So I'm do I break the authors up or do I keep the authors together? All these decisions that I have to make just with organizing the bookcase. This pile right here is the nonfiction books. I do have a little tiny pile. Oh, you can see it. These are all feminist books. And I found some of my knitting and crochet fiction books. These were kind of tucked away, and I want to have these a little bit more prominent. I was actually looking for this one specifically a while ago, thinking about possibly rereading it. So that's another fun thing about reorganizing the books, is I get to remember books and go ooh, is this one that I want to reread? Because I do usually reread 2 or 3 books a year. I try to keep primarily new books, but sometimes I just want an old comfort book. So yes, let's get to putting things on the bookshelf. I'm probably going to just do some insert shots in here and then take you through the end bit, because this part is going to take a lot longer. Getting everything off the shelves and cleaning took me an hour.
I've climbed the mountains in Montana, danced in the lights of New Orleans, Portland ran away with me, and San Francisco stayed with me. Nashville made its way in between. Fell in love in Minnesota, and fell apart south of Salt Lake. Colorado calls to me, and Washington will always be begging for a piece of me to stay. Maybe some things never change, but I wanna know how it feels to hang pictures on a wall, sleep in the same bed at night. I want reasons to stay, I want someone to take up my time and miss me when I go.
All right, are you ready? Da 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 da! It's done! Ta-da! Ignore this stuff back here. Yay! Oh, that is so much nicer. I have all of the books on there. I did a little bit of like reorganizing. I got these 2 spots down here that I can get some like boxes to have some additional toy storage. Kiddo's been getting some like Legos and more car stuff, so having some additional storage would be very, very nice. Hi, Ripley. Do you like the bookcases? Come here. Ripley. Ripley, come here. What do you think about the bookcases? You just want me to throw your pickle? All right, let's take you on a little bit of a tour of the bookcase. Let's start at the top. We've got some of Ryan's toys and a picture. Those are retro toys from his childhood. And then we come down, so it starts with sci-fi. We continue the sci-fi. We've got our Dune section. Dune is Ryan's favorite book, so there is quite a lot of Dune books. Then I originally thought about doing all the games in this center column, but then when I realized that I was going to have enough space to like have some area down here, I decided to do the games all the way across here, which also means that we have a little section for Kiri of all of her games. She's actually started playing a couple of other games, kind of. All right, and then we continue with the sci-fi. Sorry about the glare on the glass here. And then we get down into the horror section, complete with a Cthulhu that Ryan painted. And then we have a small little nonfiction section and poetry. Back up to the top, we have the feminist books. We have a special little section for The Expanse. Ryan and I both really enjoy those books, and this was a present I got Ryan a while ago. This shelf is our non-fiction books, along with we've got our little John Green bust, little Buddha holding a coin, and a fun little quote from Knives Out. Then we start the biggest section, which is the fantasy shelves. So we have these fantasy books, and then we come down here for more fantasy books, more fantasy books, more fantasy books. Wait, that's not all. Fantasy books! And there we go. And then this little corner is our Hayao Miyazaki stuff and comics that I didn't touch any of the comics today. So there we go. I have reorganized our bookcase, told you a little bit about the books that I read last year. If you read any of those books or you noticed any other books on my shelves that you read, let me know what you thought about them. I'd also love to hear what it is that you're reading or like books on your TBR. I'm always kind of looking to add books to my list that I can keep an eye out for at the library or at like bookstores and stuff like that. Yeah, this was a little bit different than what I've previously put on this channel, but I was doing this project and thought, I'll film it. I'll see if folks like it. So yeah, if you enjoyed this like deviation from traditional knitting content, let me know. I can certainly try sprinkling in a few more little, like, doing house projects or parenting thingies, other life stuff other than just knitting. If you want to keep up with a little bit more of my day-to-day stuff and find out about the projects that I'm knitting, you can follow me on Instagram and Ravelry. If you've made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with me. It really means a lot. I love hearing about all of the projects everybody's working on while they're watching these videos, and just getting to chat with you and get to know some of you folks in the comments. It really means a lot. All right, I will see you next time on Tangled Together. Bye.